Have you ever stopped to think about how the Linux kernel, the thing that pretty much powers our entire digital world, actually gets made? It's one of the biggest, most mind-boggling collaborative projects ever. So today, we're going to peek behind the curtain, using the kernel maintainer's handbook itself to see who these hidden figures are that manage this incredible project and the very unique system they use to keep it all from crashing into total chaos. Let's dive in.
So, to get a handle on the sheer scale we're talking about, just look at this number, 13,000. That's about how many individual code changes or change sets go into a single big kernel release. And these happen every 2 or 3 months. It's just a staggering amount of code coming in from thousands of developers all over the world.
And right, that leads us to the million-dollar question, doesn't it? How on earth does a project this huge, with so many people and so many moving parts, not just, implode? How do you manage that kind of scale without the rigid top-down management we're all used to? It really seems like it should be impossible. But it works.
Well, the answer is this really unconventional solution. It's not built on orders and control, but on something way more organic, a chain of trust. This right here is the absolute core concept that makes the whole engine turn, and it all revolves around this key role called the maintainer.
So what is a maintainer? The most important thing to get is that they are not managers, not in the way you're probably thinking. It's better to think of them as gatekeepers, or maybe stewards. Each maintainer is responsible for one specific piece of the kernel, say the networking stack or a particular graphics driver. They're the experts in that one area, and their whole job is to protect the quality and integrity of the code they look after.
Okay, so what does this chain of trust look like in action? This flowchart lays it out perfectly. It all kicks off at step 1. Some developer, a contributor, sends in a code change, what's called a patch. Then, at step 2, a subsystem maintainer, that expert we just talked about, reviews it. If they give it the thumbs up, it goes into their version of the kernel. From there, it gets pulled up the chain by even higher-level maintainers, and each one is basically trusting the judgment of the person below them. And the very last step, Linus Torvalds himself pulls that change into the main kernel. See, it's a hierarchy, but it's built completely on earned trust, not some assigned job title.
And this quote from the handbook, man, it just absolutely nails the whole philosophy. Linux is an anarchy held together by rarely expressed mutual respect, trust, and convenience. It's not a company org chart. It's a system that works because people genuinely trust each other's skills, and frankly, it's just a convenient way to get a massive amount of work done. It's a beautiful, simple, and kind of radical idea.
So what's it really like to be a maintainer? Well, it means you're wearing a lot of different hats. And the one thing that connects them all isn't power, it's responsibility. And that is a huge shift from how we normally think about leadership roles, right?
And when we talk about responsibilities, we're not kidding. They have to review every single patch that touches their part of the code, no exceptions. They are personally on the hook for making sure terrible bugs like system crashes get fixed fast. They have to guide massive code refactors. And on top of all that, they have to respond to bug reports and just generally be an active, helpful voice on the mailing lists. I mean, it is a massive, massive commitment.
This slide just lays it bare, doesn't it? The handbook literally says the maintainer role is more like an on-call rotation than a position of power. You get selected because of your track record, because of the awesome contributions you've made and the trust you've built, not because some VP gave you a title. In fact, the handbook pretty much says that corporate-style managers almost never make good maintainers. The whole point is that this is a role you earn through your work and the respect of your peers.
Okay, so let's talk about communication. If you've ever lurked on the kernel mailing lists, you already know the style can be, shall we say, unique. It's got its own unwritten rules, its own ethos. And yeah, it can be a little jarring if you're not used to it, but it's absolutely essential to how this whole system functions.
To put it bluntly, kernel communication is famously, and sometimes infamously, direct. There is very, very little beating around the bush. The entire goal is crystal clarity and efficiency. And that often means you get some very blunt, very straightforward feedback.
So why is that? Is everyone just rude? No, not really. This quote explains the logic perfectly. The idea is that being overly polite can actually hide the real problems in the code. It's seen as a lack of transparency. In this culture, trust is built on being brutally honest and direct, even when it feels a little rough. The thinking is, you can't really trust someone if you feel like they're hiding their real opinion behind a mask of politeness.
So how does this directness actually translate into getting your work accepted? This table is a fantastic, practical guide. You get points for substance, Saying something like, this deletes 2,000 lines of code, well, that gets people's attention. Or showing your work. Hey, I tested this on 5 different architectures. Perfect. On the other hand, just ignoring what reviewers tell you or arguing that your code should be accepted just because it works on my machine, yeah, that's going to get you absolutely nowhere. It is all about showing real value and respecting the process.
So, we've looked at this system of trusted anarchy. But the real question is, why has it been so unbelievably successful for decades now? What are the actual, tangible benefits that make this whole crazy thing work so well?
Honestly, the benefits are huge. Because the person who introduces a change is responsible for fixing any problems it causes everywhere else, the overall cost of maintenance is way lower. Your code is constantly being looked at and improved by a global army of experts. The review process itself is incredibly tough, so it catches really nasty bugs before they ever get to users. And it all circles back to that chain of trust, which guarantees that quality is the top priority at every single step.
When you boil it all down, the entire system, this entire structure, is built on one simple, incredibly powerful idea. Like the docs say, contribution of code is the fundamental action which makes the whole process work. Every patch, every code review, every bug report, it all weaves together the fabric of trust and respect that holds this anarchy together. It's a system that's literally powered by the act of creating and collaborating.
So, as we wrap this up, I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. In a world that is so often stuck in top-down hierarchical management, what can the kernel's amazing model of trusted anarchy teach all of us about how to build things together at a truly massive scale? It's a pretty powerful lesson in trust, responsibility, and what a community can really achieve.